Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at the Bestech PALADIN. This is a knife that's been out for a little while, and it's the typical Bestech budget knife. $52 retail is the standard price that Bestech puts on these, and they make the retailers agree. You can get yours from the same place I got mine, from White Mountain Knives. $52, and you can save 10% when you use coupon code CCE for Canadian Cutting Edge. And so that's $46.80 US. I'll cover more of the topic of the price and everything later on. I just like to let you know at the start of this video what the base price for this thing is. It's a full-size folder, D2 steel, G10 handle scales. And if you're interested in a knife like this with a flipper for deployment, you might be interested in this one. So stick around. The review's coming to you right now. If you are in the market for one of these knives, this is a very good time to buy one, just like I mentioned in the introduction. We do have a full-size knife here. Oh, where's my Ontario rat? I just had family over for the Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, and had to clean up the entire basement because, our entire house was full of family. My wife and I have 4 children and 3 grandchildren. And yeah, that takes up a lot of space because all 4 of my children also have spouses or significant others. And that's a lot of people. So I just have to go upstairs and look for my Ontario rat. I'll be right back. So here we go for the size comparison. Here's the Ontario Rat number 1, which is the big one. And line up the pivot points here. So as you can see, the blade length very much the same. Handle length very much the same. The grip area, very much the same. So we're looking at a big knife. Not super extra large, but it is a larger knife. We've got D2 blade steel. It's got a satin bevel on it. It's got a high saber grind, almost a full flat grind, but I like this high saber grind a lot because it leaves a big flat section up there for sharpening systems that clamp right onto that section. You got a big long section there to clamp onto, so it's usable for a lot of systems while still having a big high flat grind. So that's a good thing. I'll talk more about the blade in a minute. The handle is G10 on top of stainless steel liners. And the liners are recessed, so you can't see them right there. They're kind of hidden. Small back spacer, lanyard hole, pocket clip, right side only. So my lefty friends, I'm sorry, this is a right side only knife. And well, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. It's got a flat back here and then a slight change there. And so you've got a slight different angle there. Not bad. This handle is very comfortable. The reverse grip is great. It fits in the hand very well. Other grips, fist grip, saber grip. A grip like this to do detailed work is quite comfortable. It's a very comfortable knife. There's a sharpener's choil that is sort of a forward choil. You can put your finger in here. It's very easy to nip yourself on the side of the finger with that point there, but it's not crazy bad that way, so you can sneak up a little bit if you want to. I like the liner lock release. It's got that jimping on it, and it's raised up a bit from the liner here so that it's very easy to get at to unlock. With the right or left hand, not a problem at all to get in there to unlock it and then close the knife with one hand. So that's very good. The flipper tab has got a sort of flat spot with a bit of an angle on it, which is perfect for those people who want to do the push button method of deployment. You push down on that flat area and the blade comes flying out. Or, it's changed my mind halfway through that. Or you've got the jimping right here in the front. So if you want to do light switch method, that works very well as well. So easy to deploy this blade. We've got dual row ceramic ball bearings. So that's 16 ball bearings on either side of the blade. A ceramic detent ball on here, and the detent is quite good. So and that's in. And you know, there's not much here to grab onto to open it, but you can just, if I pull hard, I can get it to open that way. But the detent holds the knife very well in place. I thought when I got this knife in person and I held it, and I go, oh, wait a minute, that's going to be a danger zone right there. That tip of the blade is going to poke out and cut somebody. And I tried as much as I could of getting the meat of my fingers in there. And for me, I never nipped myself at all, not once. And it just, you know, it hasn't happened at all. So that is a safe section right there, although it looks like it might be a little bit dangerous. It just isn't. Blade alignment is very, very good when the blade's closed. And when it's deployed, the lock alignment is excellent. Here's a close-up shot of that. As you can see in the close-up shot, this edge right here on this side, it doesn't touch. It's actually about a third of the way into the blade where you've got the contact point. And that's true of almost every liner lock and frame lock. The contact point isn't across the whole face of the lock bar. It's usually and almost always right on that corner of the blade, as I have marked out on this picture. So lockup, great. And like I said, the action, excellent. So you can just shake the knife a little bit and it closes up. That's those dual rows of ball bearings. You got a little bit of fine jimping on the spine of the blade right here where the thumb rest area is, offering really good extra grip without being overly aggressive. That's a good thing. We've got a swedge that starts at the end of that jimping and goes almost to the tip of the blade. And it's a very small swedge on either side, and it's a nice decorative effect. Looks really good. You can get, as I said, the stone wash or black wash on the flats there, and that goes all the way up to the flipper tab here, all that area. That's nice. The sharpener's choil is big enough so that it's not thick. The blade's not thick right there where my thumbnail is. It's the proper thinness. And it's a very sharp knife from the factory. And that's a good thing. And everywhere, you know, there's just that slight chamfering on the sides and everything's just slightly rounded, making it a whole lot more comfortable than it would otherwise be. The handle scales are slightly radiused, so they're thickest right in the middle. You can sort of see if you look at the, for lack of a better word, grain lines. If this was wood, you could see wood grain lines. So it's thickest right there, and then it slowly goes thinner and thinner on these different layers. And that's a good thing. And then you've got this little extra section right here. Nice chamfering on the side all the way around. And beautiful, beautiful knife. Pocket clip is, like I said, right side only. It's fairly deep carry, but not super deep. The pocket clip rides over the edge of a pocket very well with that flat raised section there. And you've got about 1.3 centimeters of the knife sticking out. That's about half an inch of the knife sticking out of the pants pocket. Let's demonstrate that right now. There's a sample pants. And it goes in, and like I said, comes close, it rides right over, so that's perfect, you know, just wonderful. And goes on right to the bottom on the first push, and it looks good. It's, you know, not too aggressive. It doesn't stand out. It gives enough to grab the knife easily to pull it out of your pocket. The clip has enough space between the G10 and the pocket clip that you can put fairly thick pants in. You can put it in fairly thick denim. The lanyard hole is large enough for 550 paracord or even thicker paracord than that. I do wish that it was indented just a little bit instead of wide open like that because when you put paracord through here, you know, it's going to become even larger. Not that dramatically, but you know what I mean. That's not a big con at all because I almost never use lanyards on my pocket knives anyways. Not bad. They did a good thing here on the body screws that fit the backspacer on. There's two body screws right there, and one of them is also part of the pocket clip. I like that. That's thinking. Instead of making, having 3 screws back here, there's just 2. So one that's solely for the pocket clip and one that shares for the body. That's good. I do wish they would have made it right and left friendly, because lefties, they're not going to like this. And this is an awesome, awesome knife. If this knife had a left pocket clip, I think it would definitely be in my top 3 knives of 2019 so far. This is around the middle of October right now, and I really, really like this knife, but it doesn't go into my top 3 because it's not left friendly. I'm a left-handed guy myself. Although I've developed ambidextrous skills, I'm actually a little bit better with my right hand with knives now, just because there's so many right-handed knives that, I've played with my right hand using them, and maybe I've overdone it with my right hand, and my skills with my right hand are quite good with knives compared to my left. Even though I'm lefty, that's kind of odd. The handle shape fits very well in the hand for grip. I didn't mention that you've got your finger choil here, and then you've got an area here, and then there's a little bit of a point right there and another flat spot there. So it really is a comfortable knife to hold because of that. It's very, very nice. You've got your typical Bestech pocket clip pivot pin right here. It's a non-spinning pivot pin, so that's a really good thing. And there's the pivot screw on there. Now, one other con for this knife that I have is they used Threadlocker on this, and I could not get this out for trying until I let it sit in boiling water for a few minutes, and that freed up the Loctite, and then I was able to take it apart. I had to use DriveGrip on my screwdrivers to get this out. And I couldn't turn this, just one of them, it just wouldn't come until I put it in a clamp and put one screwdriver on either side, and I used DriveGrip on those screwdrivers. I just don't like regular Threadlocker. I wish knife companies would get their hands on VC3 by Vibra-Tite. It is the Threadlocker. It's called Threadmate because it's not like traditional Threadlocker, but it's similar in some ways. And it just is beautiful for knives. It holds like a light Threadlocker, but it's reusable. You don't have to reapply it until you've taken the screw out 6 or 7, 8 times, and then you need to clean it up and reapply it instead of every single time like traditional Threadlocker. It's just an awesome product. And then DriveGrip stops the screwdriver from stripping out screw heads or stripping out the screws if the screwdriver's too soft. It's a great product. If you live in the United States, you can easily get DriveGrip and VC3. It's nice and cheap on Amazon. The rest of us, have to go to other things of, putting this into boiling water or something just so that we're able to do maintenance on our knives. So Bestech, hopefully you're listening. Please don't use typical Threadlocker. Check out VC3 by Vibra-Tite, and maybe you've got a similar product in China that you can use. I don't know. But there you go. So the shape of the blade, I really, really like. This is actually an upswept blade. Ever so barely, barely, barely. If I don't have a flashlight with me right now, but you can see just a little bit of light through here if you put a flat surface on this side and shine a light up through it. It touches there and it touches at the tip, and then just ever so slightly bit of light through here, like less than a millimeter space. So basically it's a flat back knife, but technically it is a slight bit upswept. Let's go over all of the specs, measurements, and stuff like that. And as long as this is on the screen, I'll be talking about those things. So if you don't like that information, or you just want to skip over it, once this is missing from the video, I'm back to my regular talk about the knife. So we've got a knife that weighs 129 grams, 4.55 ounces, thanks to the skeletonizing in there, and I'll show you the insides. The blade cutting edge is 9.51 centimeters, 3.75 inches. That's nice and big. The blade length is a little bit less because the G10 comes forward here. So measured from tip to the handle scale right here, 9.14 centimeters, 3.6 inches. The blade thickness is 3.52 millimeters, which is 0.135 of an inch, just slightly over an eighth of an inch. The blade depth, and I measured it right where this chamfer ends, so about an inch from the sharpener's choil, which is where I like to measure it because we cut the most right there probably. And that is 2.54 centimeters, 1 inch. Perfect. The thickness of the edge behind the grind at that same spot is 0.5 millimeter, which is 0.0195 of an inch. Perfect. I like knives to be 0.5 millimeter. Knives like this knife, like folding EDC style knives, that's a perfect thickness behind the grind. The grind angle, I'm not so happy with the grind angle. On this side where it says Paladin, measured at that same spot right there, 23.8 degrees. On this side, it is 27.1 degrees. But by the time you get close to the sharpener's choil, that's over 30 degrees. And it's, a little bit less than 20 degrees right there on the belly. And then, it fluctuates. But it is sharp. The factory sharpness for this knife is 130 grams of pressure to cut through that monofilament. I've got a whole video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I got a whole video dedicated to how I test the sharpness using some equipment that is designed for measuring sharpness. 200 and less is considered sharp. So 130 is very sharp. So even though they sharpened it to varying angles, they still made it very sharp. I really hope that knife companies will start to put more effort into getting very consistently edge grinds close to 20 degrees per side and all the way along close to the same grind. That's one of those parts of the knife that's done by hand. And so they sharpen this by hand across a turning wheel. And it's just natural to change this angle while you're sharpening as you get close to the end. It's just normal. Unfortunately, it means when you sharpen this knife for the first time on your own, if you have equipment to give it a consistent angle all the way along, you're going to have to do more sharpening on certain spots than others, and it can be frustrating. So there's that. The handle now, the handle length is 12.25 centimeters, which is 4.84 inches. The grip area is about 10.2 centimeters, 4 inches. The handle thickness, like I said, it's radius, so it's thickest right there in the middle of the handle. Where is that? 1.46 centimeters. That's 0.575 inches, so just over half an inch. Excellent. The handle depth, and I measured it right here. That is 2.49 centimeters. That's 0.98 of an inch. So basically 1 inch right here. It's a little bit more than that back here. And of course, it's more than that up here. Depth of the knife now when the knife is closed. As you can see, it just barely sticks out. It's about the same as this measurement right here. So very little to grab onto it. That depth is 2.87 centimeters, 1.13 inches. The total length of this knife with the blade deployed tip to tail, 21.5 centimeters, 8.46 inches. So basically 8.5 inches the total length. That's a big knife. The balance point is right there on that finger choil. Let me get it balanced. There you go. So that's beautiful. They could have made it slightly lighter, but they didn't skeletonize the metal on the back 1.5 inches right here on the liners. And that was probably to get that balance point, to be just perfect. And, so there it is right there. I like that an awful lot. Like I said at the start, this knife is $52 US. Like I said, you can get 10% off at White Mountain Knives if you use coupon code CCE in uppercase to check out. White Mountain Knives has most of these on back order. They've got a few of them, at least 2 of the different colors in stock right now. In Canada, Amazon.ca has this knife, but it's being shipped from a store in the United States. What do I think of this knife? I really, really like this knife. It's probably in my top 5 right now, but it didn't make it to my top 3 because of this. They would have had to have sold it with a second pocket clip if they would have put one on here, because this angle here, you'd have to make a mirror image of this pocket clip. But I wish they would have done that or put in a pocket clip that could easily go on both sides. I really think that it's good to be left friendly. thanks for watching my video. If you like this channel, please consider subscribing. Click on that bell so you'll be notified of all my videos. And if you're curious about other kinds of things, I've got another channel called Goods, Gadgets, and Gear. I like to review electronics and things. I'll be reviewing this watch. This is by Xiaomi. I just got it yesterday, and it's a nice watch. It does all kinds of. You can see your text. I think you can see your text on this one. I've got another one, a bigger one. Your texts from your cell phone go right up on this screen. You can't reply to them, of course, because you can't type on here, but you can get the weather, you can get notifications, your pulse on here, how many steps you've taken, of course, what time it is, the day of the week, and the day of the month. So good things. If you're interested in that channel, there's a link right at the very end of the video or down below. So thanks again, guys. Remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.